It's such an interesting thing because your now reality really has your attention. It does. We were watching Jerry and Esther this week. They moved into their new house in San Antonio after 5 years of construction, very slow-moving construction. And they've been perfectly happy with the slow-moving construction because they've never been there anyway, hardly. And so, but finally, Jerry says, let's get this done. So they set a move-in date, and in they moved. And as Esther is walking around, she is just knocked over at the beauty of the place. It is everything that they have been dreaming about, and it is the combination of all of the little things they've been picking and choosing and picking and choosing and picking and choosing. But to see it all assembled is sort of like what it must be like for you when you finally let go of your resistance and go into your vortex and find everything that you've been asking for there all at once. So they walked in and oohed and awed. Esther said it was a jaw-dropping experience and took 4 days to get her mouth shut because it was really, really amazing. But they were assigned by someone in charge of this last construction to give a punch list. And so Esther is walking around with her tape recorder looking for things to put on the list that they can tend to in the 5 months that they will now be away. They were there 9 days, and during the 9 days, Jerry and Esther made a very large list of nothing very important, but lots and lots and lots and lots of details. It was fun at first. And then Esther started noticing, somebody knocked a ladder through one of the shoji doors. That bothered her. And someone had knocked a hole over here. In other words, construction things are sort of hard on things. And Esther said to Jerry, our house is old and we haven't moved in yet. And Jerry said, it's going to get older before you move in, so brace yourself because there's many more people going to be there. And so Esther began that little discomfort as she began walking around. And then one day, a very nice man came to finish the cabinets in the laundry room. And Esther liked him so much. And then she saw him out on the deck, standing in the dirt, working with his skill saw. And then she saw him tracking all of this dirt and stuff into the house. And she said to him nicely, I'm going to get a broom so we can clean up these rocks so that we don't step on them and mark the floor. And he looked at Esther like she was his own annoying mother and said, ma'am, which in and of itself is annoying, I always clean up after myself. And Esther said, I want you to clean up during so that we don't mark up the floor. So Esther cleaned it up and put a mat out for him to stand in so he didn't have to stand in it. And then as he was back in the room, Esther looked down and there was a screw, a long screw, laying on the wood floor just outside the door of the laundry room. And Esther said to him, see that screw? If someone steps on that screw, it's going to make a mark on my beautiful floor. So Esther picked it up and handed it to him. And he looked back at her, sure now that she is his mother, and didn't say anything. And Esther said, well, I'm going to take off. And off they went. And when they came back, the laundry room was beautifully assembled. And about 4 inches from where that screw had been was a big mark on the floor where he had stepped on another screw, just like Esther created it to be. Esther said to Jerry, look, I pointed that out to him. I told him what would happen, and look what happened. And Jerry looked at Esther and did not say a word. However, Esther can read his mind, so he was still in trouble. At which point Esther said, I hate law of attraction. I was happier before I knew that I am the creator of my own reality. It could not have been a better creation. But wait, it gets better. Then the furniture company came, delivering some beautiful furniture that they've picked out from California. We're reaching for the best way to break this to you easily. So the nice men bring the big, beautiful console table in, and it's all wrapped up, just like they promised it would be when they said they would deliver it. Wrapped up with foam and cardboard and shrink wrap. You couldn't even see the table, and it was upside down on a dolly, a long dolly. So in they wheeled it, and they carefully cut it with Esther hovering, saying, it's really shiny. Watch that blade. Be careful with my table. It's one of a kind. I wouldn't want anything to happen to it. So they trimmed it and trimmed it and trimmed it and exposed it, and it is the most beautiful table Esther has ever seen, except it was upside down. And when they turned it over, the top came off the base crashed to the floor, made a big hole in the floor, and broke the table. Esther said something that would need to be edited out of this recording if we told you. And Jerry said something that would have to be edited out of this recording if we told you. And then Jerry disappeared for 2 hours. Esther called him on the phone and called him a coward. And then Esther proceeded to say to the men who had no blood in their head at all, they were green then white. Esther said, this was not your fault. This was an accident looking for a place to be delivered to me. This was not your fault. The top should have not been assembled. 4 little screws were all that were holding it. It was too much weight to be turned over. There were no instructions on it, but all of that is irrelevant. What is relevant is that in an environment of hovering and worry, in an environment of we need to be careful because something could go wrong, in an environment of expectation of things going wrong, things have to go that way. And Esther still hates the law of attraction. In other words, she thinks, she doesn't really, but wouldn't it be nice if everyone could anticipate everything that you've got going on vibrationally and compensate for it so that you never have to experience the full wrath of your own creation? But it doesn't work that way, does it? In other words, things happen as you expect them to be. Expectation is the name of the game. In other words, now Esther is right when she says, I wouldn't expect things to go wrong if things didn't go wrong. She's not wrong about that, of course. Sloppy people, uncareful people, people that don't know better, train you into your vibrational patterns. But that's really beside the point, because you cannot control all of those uncontrollable things. You can't get out ahead of everyone that's involved with you and teach them the way that you want them to behave so that you don't have to clean up your vibration. You've got to clean up your vibration. And that's really the thing that we want all of you to know. Now, some of you are thinking, let's see, Esther met Abraham in 1985. Abraham's been saying the same thing for all of those years. Esther still doesn't get it. There's no hope for me. I think I will go home. But really what's happening is Jerry and Esther have a spectacular life. But law of attraction does not make them the exception, ever. Law of attraction treats them the way they offer their vibration to be. It's just that way. You just cannot ask for something different from what you expect. And so this Art of Allowing workshop is really about, the conversation that we want to have is really about training yourself into vibrational alignment with who you really are and what you really want. You see, all the disappointment that you feel, whether it's because someone dropped your table or because someone hurt your feelings or because something went wrong in their life or because they deceived you or you wanted better for them, everything that goes wrong, what it really is about, and this is a little hard to hear, but once you get the hang of this, it's going to free you from so much impossible struggle. What it's really about is that through life, you have created a version of everything, and it is in your vortex of creation. And every bit of disappointment that you have is because you're not in the moment living up to the version that you have created. In other words, Esther has created a version of cooperative people and a beautiful house and things unfolding nicely. She's created that version in her mind as they've been driving around the nation, picking things for years and years and years. She has an image in her vortex, not just an image, a vibrational reality of how she wants that to be, how she wants her business to be, how she wants each and every relationship to be. You all have this too. And when she faces a reality that defies that version, it is the defiance of that version that equals the negative emotion. Esther is not upset because the table is broken. Now you all gasp because you think that that's what it is about. Esther would have thought that that is what it is about. Don't want a broken table, got a broken table, that's why I'm upset. But it isn't for that reason. The upset is because she was not and is not a current vibrational match to the version of her life that she has put into her vortex. So now Esther could play that back. All right, Abraham, my table was just dropped. It was pretty for a minute. My table was just dropped, and there's a perfect table in my vortex. Is that what you're saying? How do I reconcile the broken table with the table that's in the vortex? By understanding that you never get it done and you can't get it wrong. by understanding that the discord is not because the table is broken. Now that's hard to hear. The discord is because in this moment that you are looking at the broken table, you are not living up to the version of your life. It's not a broken table. It's a feeling of out of controlness. It's not a broken table. It's about not getting to be home, but only for 9 days before I'm taking off. It's not about a broken table. It's about trying to do too much in too short of time. It's not about a broken table. Are you hearing what we're getting at? It's about not living up to the version that is in your vortex. You've got to keep up with you. Life keeps causing you to expand. And it was so interesting because Jerry had walked away and he'd gotten involved in other things and had forgotten about the table. Esther was there while the men were still unwrapping other things, and they were all laughing about it. Esther said, "I'm sorry for my outburst." And the man said, "I thought you took it rather well." And then they began laughing about it and speculating what now and pondering whether it could be fixed. And Esther's talking about how interesting it is and how all of the pieces seem to be there, and someone really good at it may be able to put it into place, and a really good woodworker, and there are several around. In fact, she knows one, could probably have a very good time making that table new again. Now, later, all through the rest of the week, as Esther is walking by, seeing the broken leg on the table, she's looking at it differently. In other words, past the shock of it and into the solution of it. And that's really what we want to come around to fast. Of course you're going to take a hit when things don't go the way you want them to, but the thing that you want to remember is that the only reason that anything ever feels bad is because there is a version of everything that you have been involved in, including you, the creator of you, involved with your money, you involved with your lovers, you involved with your relationships of all kind, you involved with your work, you involved with every aspect of life. There is a version of that that is offering a very powerful vibration, and when you don't resonate in alignment with it, you feel the discord of it, period. It's never about a table broken. It's only, always, only, always, only, always, ever, always, only, ever, always. It is always, 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 always about your vibrational relationship with who you are, period. That's all. That's all. You are source energy. Part of you came forth. You are exploring and expanding. You got to keep up with the expansion, or at least move in the direction of the expansion. And if you don't feel good, period. Esther said at some point along the scenario, maybe we should never ask for nice things. Maybe we should just never have nice things. Then when they drop it, we'd say, no problem. It's made out of plywood. It doesn't matter. I can make another one tomorrow. And Jerry said, I don't think that's what Abraham's going for here. I don't think that the secret to a happy life is holding back on your desires. You can't. You can't. Life is going to insist that you expand. The whole universe, everything that you are about, the core of the energy that is you, the very reason that you came into this body, into this glorious contrasting experience, it all exists for the joyous, inevitable, eternal expansion. You cannot hold it back. But when you hold yourself back with contradictory thoughts to the expansion, you feel the discord, and then sometimes you say, I think I shouldn't want so much because I want things I can't figure out how to have. And that's really what we want to talk about here today, because we want you to let go of the manifestation part of it just for a little while and take emotional journeys. Most people who want more money, or who want a better relationship, or who want a better job, or who want a better car, or who want a better life, most people who want that want it with a flawed premise basis. They want it because they think, what I've got doesn't please me when I observe it, so if I could create something better, then I could observe that and I would be pleased. So give it to me and then I'll have a pleasing response to what has been given. And we say, it doesn't work that way. You have to find the vibrational attitude in order to stop the resistance, in order to allow the manifestational receiving of what's already in your vortex. You have to find the vibration first. In other words, you have to have an emotional journey. Here is the important thing to understand about this vortex. This vortex is vibrational. And the vortex, as you stand outside of it, is not a place that you can see yet, or hear yet, or smell yet, or taste yet, or touch yet, because it has not evolved vibrationally to the point of that revelation to you. But it has something that you can feel. The key to your vortex is the way you feel. So as you think about your lover and you feel the elation of that, you are offering no resistance. As you think about the absence of your lover and you feel that discord, that means you are discordant to your vortex. Do you hear what we're getting at?